Today we are going to go deep in the mind of people with Scorpio in Pluto. This is going to be very interesting, I'm just saying. We are going deep. We are going very, very, very deep. Uncomfortable deep. I have no idea how long this video is going to be deep. All the secrets will come out deep. So this is all in all going to be about what it means to have Scorpio in Pluto. But I am also going to talk about what Pluto means and what role it actually is playing in our life. Plus, if you have Scorpio anywhere in your chart, you might want to listen because I'm going into details with all the houses. So this can also affect if you have Scorpio in the 8th house or if you have Scorpio in the 10th house. So yeah, or if you're just a Scorpio. A lot of details about Scorpio today. So if you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, you are probably going to resonate with this. You don't have to have Scorpio in your Pluto, but you know, this is what it's all about. This is intense, this is deep. So sit back and grab your snacks because yeah. So Pluto, I am pretty sure that some of you guys have never heard about that you even have something called Pluto in your chart. And I'm going to say that I wasn't really aware of what it meant. I was aware of the Mercury or the Venus or the Moon, but Pluto was a little bit like, yeah, what is this? What is it about? So today I'm going to explain to you because it's actually pretty fascinating. And it tells a lot about your personality and the way you are in your life, with your work, with your friends, in relationships, with money. So first of all, Pluto is a messenger. The camera made a weird noise. Spirits, please stop playing with the camera. Thank you. I'll be ready again. So, Pluto is a messenger. Pluto is about new things. Something has to die before something new can come. So, Pluto is coming to change things in your life. It's about transforming all the old aspects of self in order to go into new experiences and new consciousness. So you need to let go of the old energy. So what it is that you need to understand is that you need to let go of old habits. You need to be willing to let go of old attachments. That's how we humans are. We humans are sometimes really attached to things that we know, things that we are used to, like a special way of doing things, like how we did things in the past, our paradigm, how we grew up, learning how to act, or sometimes we just have our mind set on a specific outcome, or we just have a specific way that we want things to unfold. But the biggest key with Pluto is that we have to be willing to let go of any way of thinking about certain things, to let go of any type of old habits, emotional attachments of fear, because usually attachments comes from fear, and Pluto really shows us where we have that. So where we have too much attachments in life, where we have too much fear, where we have too much control, too much passion, too much aggression, all the really deep instinctive attachments. So Pluto is here to show us where we can step back, where it is that we can have that awareness that we are attached in those aspects wherever the attachment is. Again, I will go deeper into the houses because that's where it's really interesting. It's going to show us where it is that we can let go of some things so that things can change. Because again, Pluto is all about change and transformation. And as a result of the change, it's very freeing. So that is the result of Pluto. Birth and rebirth, endings and beginnings. it really lets us release the old, the fear, the deep fear. And yes, deep fear can be deep. And I know that it's not easy to let go of certain things, but again, that's why Pluto is here, to help us with releasing those things. If we want change, if you don't want to change, then obviously you don't have to change anything. But again, we all want change. And in fact, Pluto also goes into past life. And I know that you guys really want to learn more about that, and I will go into that in another video. I don't know how much I'm going to touch up on it in this video, but again, there will be tiny things that point out what it is that you need to work on in this life. Because the fear that you have in this life is something that has been deep rooted in your past life. Remember, I talked about that in the twin flame video with energy, that sometimes we take past life energy with us into this life. And Pluto is a very karmic planet. So again, there's a lot of energy that needs to be released from the past life so that we don't get stuck in this life. So this is all about releasing attachments and control from the past life in this life so that we can change and so that we can begin new. So really releasing those attachments really gives you freedom, and it does give you more control in this life. You are going to be more able to control drama in your day-to-day or in your relationship with your kids, with your health, the way you make money. You're going to be able to think more clearly, and again to really go after what it is that you want in life. That's why we love Pluto. So Pluto is actually, I mean, at the moment it's my favorite planet. And you will understand why. Because again, it digs deep and it makes us realize what it is that we need to work on. So Pluto is also the ego killer, which is very important because the ego is always fixated on a specific outcome or a specific way of thinking, doing things. Like that's the way and no other way is good enough. So this is all about really controlling and calming down the yelling ego monkey that you have in your mind. The ego is very destructive and it's very challenging. So the more open we are to change, the easier it will go to shut down the ego. Shut down the yelling monkey. So, for example, if you have Pluto in your third house, which is all about communication, socializing, and about learning, you would be very, very serious in these aspects of your life. So there would be a lot of attachment in that. You would want certain things to go your way in those aspects, in communication, in the way that you socialize with people. Or you will have fears around those aspects or areas in your life with communication and socializing. So the key here is to be aware of it. First of all, that is the most important thing. Be aware if you have fear or if you have your ego when it comes to communication or socializing. Or again, like we're going to talk about all the other aspects in your life, in your houses. And when you are aware, you can allow change to come in. Again, that's why we have Pluto. And again, Pluto is going to show you how you can change all those things in a way that you could never imagine. So the more unattached that you are in those areas, the better, so that you can allow any old fear to be released in the certain areas in your life. So the more unattached you are, the smoother the ride is going to be for you. So everything is going to happen very fast, very smoothly. In fact, Pluto is always moving, it's always changing, it's always transforming. So it's very important to have the awareness and to be willing to let everything flow so that the new can come. So be open to the new and be open to transformation in those particular areas where you need it, so that you in the end can have your freedom. So you can use this in every area of your life where you need to let go of control or attachments. So that is just the basic rundown of Pluto. How Pluto works, how Pluto can help us. So now we're going to get much deeper into the Pluto in Scorpio, because I have Pluto in Scorpio. But again, you can use this if you have Scorpio in other placements, or if you have Pluto in other placements of the houses that we're going to run through at the end of this video. But first of all, I am going to talk about the Pluto in Scorpio. So if you have Pluto in Scorpio, you will change the world. We are the world changers. The Pluto in Scorpio generation is very powerful. The period of this generation was one of chaos, revolution, a time of decay, collapse, institutional corruption. During this era, the Berlin Wall fell. So people with Pluto are very strong, and we are up for every challenge. In astrology, Pluto is the planet of death, the planet of rebirth, sex, transformation. It's all that's beneath the surface. The people have a very, very strong imagination. We possess psychic abilities, and I will say that I am a person, I believe that everyone has psychic abilities, but it is easier for Scorpios to really fire it up. So for some other sign, it might be hidden a little bit more. For us Scorpios, it's just like it's in the fingertips. It's just there. It's just a knowing. So I'm not saying that other signs doesn't have it, because I am not a believer in that. I believe that everyone has it. It's just a matter of calling it out. We can sometimes be very ruthless about getting our own way. And many of us grew up with Harry Potter, and we have a very compelling interest in what's hidden. Another great example of Scorpio in Pluto vibe is the 90s grunge. Did I say it right? So the emotional theme is like the Nirvana singer Kurt Cobain. Who didn't grow up with Kurt Cobain? Who of you Pluto and Scorpio people don't know who Kurt Cobain is? Because a lot of us grew up with all that melancholic tunes and the harsh lyrics on repeat. And again, the new generation also grew up with soaking in Are You Afraid of the Dark or Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So the subject of sex, death and taboo was always present. And for me, that was something that was really, I grew up with that. Like, it was like, ooh, death. Like melancholic songs. It was just like, it was interesting. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys who has this Scorpio placement experience the same. You have seen the same. You're interested in the same. And a lot of this generation also experienced a lot of traumatic things in life. And a lot of people who has Scorpio in Pluto really struggle with abandonment issues, as many of us grew up with divorced parents. And I do think it's something with 35% according to New York Times. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 35%. Whether they were working late hours, living in another country, or simply didn't have parents who was in the picture. This is still added to our subconsciousness. The fear of loss and betrayal. And it is a part, or I would say most of the time, or a lot of the times, that's something that people who has Scorpio and Pluto can relate to. And I would say yes to that, because my parents did get a divorce, but they did also got back together again, but then they got divorced again. So for me, I also subconsciously on a subconscious level, I do also have that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys who watch this does also have that. It might not be like heavy, but it's there. It's not a coincidence that the majority of us grew up with A Clockwork Orange or watching movies like The Craft, because The Craft, that was just my holy Bible. I remember that we were 3 or 4 girls in the school, and you know, we played that The Craft thing. If anyone left the group, then they would die. I mean, oh my god, you know, it's been a big part of my life. Also with vampires and stuff like that. I mean, Underworld. I mean, oh my god. Write in the comment below what movies did you see. If you didn't see Underworld or The Craft or A Clockwork Orange, then I don't believe that you have Scorpio in your Pluto. So trauma tends to run very deep within us. It's familiar, it's in some way comfortable. So Scorpio energy and Plutonian energy is very intense. It can bring out jealousy. It can bring out possessiveness. It can bring out manipulation. It can bring out control. And we all have it somewhere in our chart, no matter if we are not a Scorpio. We have it somewhere in our chart, if we want it or not. And Pluto is here to help us overcome those things. Scorpios are we are very secretive. And here's the thing, it all depends on where you have your Pluto in your chart. And all these things, intense, sexual, secretive, possessive, aggressive, so it plays a role in your houses. If you have Pluto in those houses or if you have Scorpio in those houses. But Scorpios has to do with research, digging, metaphysics, psychic abilities, intuition. It also has to do with mediumship abilities. It's the inner knowing, like we just know things. It's like I don't really know why, but I know things. And most of the times it's not what's being said, it's what's not being said. So wherever you have Scorpio in your houses, you could be very intuitive and just have a very easy flow with your psychic feelings. The same with Pluto. It can have to do with a job, it can have to do with research, digging. Like a doctor could have Scorpio in their chart because they like to dig. They research cases, they cut people open, they dig deep, they pull the layers. They really go underneath something to find out what's wrong. It's like investigators. Scorpios are very good at digging deep, like digging into a cold case. So you got the bigger picture. That's what we Scorpios do or like to do. So that's what this energy is all about. Scorpio also have this, obviously, this ability to work with people who crossed over. So everything that's spiritual. Tarot card readers, healers. So this is going to be for if you have Pluto in your first house. So the first house placement is the most important placement in your chart because for it determines where all the other houses follows. So it's almost like the chakras. If your base chakra doesn't work, your other chakras doesn't spin. So your first house has to spin so that your other houses can spin, flow, so that you can change. It's the mind. It's like our body. Everything is like chakras and, you know, energy and foundations. All the houses has to flow, all the chakras needs to spin. So if you have Scorpio in your first house, or if you have Pluto in your first house, these people are just born psychologists. These people can read other people miles away. They have the natural bullshit detector. They just know when you lie. They might be very interested in occult research. They like to investigate. And the same if you have Scorpio in your moon, obviously. That plays a big role in it too. So they like to look at the unseen. the unknown, everything that's secretive, that's just, ooh. Again, it's not about what's being said, but about what's not being said. It's almost like the Siri Lied to Me. I do feel that that character has a lot of Scorpio in him. I can't remember his name, and it's years back since I watched that series. They are very, very careful with the information that they give, but they love to dig deep and know everything about everyone else. When they talk to people, they love to have eye contact. So if you have a friend who is really looking you into the eyes while they are talking or while you talk, they probably have Scorpio somewhere in their chart. They are very, very passionate people. They really, really want that body, soul, mind connection. They are very sexual people, very intense, and that sometimes scare other people. It's like if you have Scorpio anywhere, wherever it is, either people like you or they hate you. There is no gray zone in this. It's black and white. Gray is not a part of our life. And that's also how we see other people. There's no maybe. There's no is I like you or I don't like you. And here's the thing, other people can sense that intensity in you. It's like no matter where you have Scorpio in your chart, you are a mystery. You are like, I guess we are a little special. And again, for some people that's just very, very overwhelming. And you most of the time feel most comfortable, or you feel that you get along with people who also has a lot of Scorpio in their chart. And I would say yes to that. At least 1 or 2 Scorpio needs to be in other people's chart. Otherwise, it's a gray zone. And we can sense people with Scorpio in them from miles away. It's like, oh yeah, the person looking at the occult book in the, the back of the store, Scorpio. We can sense each other. You're like animals sniffing to each other. Oh god, that's so wrong to say. But something you have to be careful about is that you need to be a phoenix rising from the ashes when people hurt you, because some Scorpios tend to sting, and again, that's the ego. We don't want to have anything to do with the ego. So do you get mad or do you get even? Plus there can be a lot of manipulation and jealousy in the mix. And yes, in the past, I was so jealous. So that's obviously also something you have to be careful about. No matter where you have Scorpio in your chart, that's something you have to be careful about. And you can also sometimes be very hard on yourself and other people, but most yourself. So let's go to Pluto or Scorpio ruling your second house. These people are again born psychologists. They can be very, very interested in psychology. They could also be working or be interested in the medical field. So like chemicals, drugs, liquids, insurance, doctors, nurses, police work, investigators, the occult research, forensics. I remember that I actually wanted to do forensic when I was younger. I wanted also to do those like autopsy thing. I think that's how you say it, right? You cut people open. I wanted to do that when I was younger. I was the only one in my family who was, sitting at the TV like, oh, interesting, you're cutting people up. I was the only one. I'm the only Scorpio in my family, I think. It feels like it. So that is the fields that you really would be good at working. I think that's for all Scorpios. That's just, yeah. And occult research, yes, I have done that a lot. So that's the way that we can make a lot of money. That's our specialty. And again, all that spiritual with tarot cards or reading people's future or healing, crystals, everything. Another thing with Pluto ruling your second house is that you might have many different kind of jobs. throughout your life. So you're doing one thing and suddenly you want to do something completely else. You really might have to transform yourself several times until you really find out what it is that you want. The second house also deals with self-esteem. So how you present yourself to the world. So let's go to the third house. So Pluto in third house or Scorpio in third house. People with this placement are not afraid to talk about things that shake people up. They are not afraid of taboo subjects. And they are very, very good at keeping secrets. They are interested in every taboo subjects and they really, really want to know. They research everything. They are the people who go on Google and Google pictures of dead people. They are. Again, they want to know, they want to see, you know? Everything that's a taboo for other people are just interesting for them. Another thing is that you might have a lot of ups and downs in your life. Like things are great in 1 minute and the next minute everything is just collapsing and falling apart. You might feel that way in communication, that there's ups and downs in communication. This could also happen with technology or vehicles. It can also happen with your siblings. The key with Scorpio in Pluto is to find balance in intensity. Things that transform you as a person. People who transform you and happenings that transform you. It's all about communication, relationships, the way you act and the way you talk with people. So there could really be a lot of transformation with the way that you put yourself out there. So transformation, changing everything up, changing things all the time. You might also be someone who is changing your car all the time or technology devices all the time. Let's go to Pluto or Scorpio in the fourth house. With this placement, your home or family situation could have been very private, very secretive. So again, it can be something you grew up with, or it could be something that you are now, something you have around you. Very intense and very transformative in your life. You could have grown up with a lot of secrets, like maybe you were in a family where your parents always argued about things and your grandmother sensed that something was wrong, so they maybe asked you what's wrong, and you explained obviously to grandmother what was going on. And when you got home, your parents would have been like, why did you tell grandmother? Why? What happens at home stays at home. It's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's like you might also have grown up with this, like, don't tell anyone your business. Like everything was very hush-hush at home. So again, your family could have been very secretive. You can also be very secretive with the way that you live your life, that you don't really tell anything about yourself. Or if you are someone who is self-employed, you don't take customers at home, you do it somewhere else. So again, there could be a lot of transformation in this when you grow older. So you could work behind the scenes, you could be a private inspector, a private investigator, everything that's like private work. And with this placement, you can also be someone who is receiving messages in your dreams from people who crossed over. And I have that as well. And I do also have it with my 12th house, just that it's not in Scorpio, but it's in Cancer. So Scorpio and Cancer are very close when it comes to that. So again, that's something that affects your placement as well. So Scorpio or Pluto in the 5th house. So this can be a very intense energy and transformation when it comes to dating and children. One thing is that you have to be careful with power play when it comes to kids. You might have experienced that when you were a child or in your family. It can create jealousy and manipulation. So there could be a lot of transformative energy with children, a lot of ups and downs with children. Your life could be transformed by children. It could be your children or someone else's children. You could have someone in your family who passed away and then you had to take the children into your life. Or you could be single without kids and suddenly you got married to someone who had a lot of kids. Or if it comes to dating, you have to be careful. Again, you want that body, mind, soul connection with someone. So you really have to be careful not to be too aggressive or too controlling or too possessive, because again, you might have a partner or you might be dealing with someone who just want to have freedom. They just want out. So it depends on what placement your partner has in their chart, because you could be a Scorpio being together with someone who has Aries in their 5th house. So there is a need to be a little careful with this controlling or possessive energy. So let's go to Pluto or Scorpio in the 6th house. The 6th house is all about work, health, and day-to-day activities. So a lot could transform in that. Scorpio and Pluto also rules the reproductive organs. So you could have a lot of issues or medical issues with that. You could also have problems with getting STDs easily. You could also go through a lot of surgeries. When it comes to your day-to-day activities, it could again be up and down. Again, that's the theme. Things could be up and down, or uncontrolling, or controlling, or possessive, or aggressive. But the key here is drama. So you could have a lot of drama in your day-to-day. A lot of drama. Or there's a lot of drama at your work. Or again, a lot of transformation, intensity, like you have a lot of intense colleagues or a lot of maybe intense neighbors, intense people who are around you. Things just change up a lot in your day-to-day schedule. There could be passionate relationships at work. So that's something you have to be careful about too. Your job could also change a lot. Or you could be very passionate about what you do, creative. Again, you could be into forensics, police work, the spiritual, medical things. So the 7th house in Pluto or Scorpio. The 7th house is all about power play. Power play in relationships. Ups and downs in marriage or relationships. Many different relationships. Lots of passion, lots of heartbreaks, uncontrolling heartbreaks. The partner you attract could be very sexual, very intense. You could tend to attract people who are married or who are already in another relationship. You could attract cheating. You could cheat a lot. Uncontrolling cheating, passionate cheating. I mean, passion is good, but too much passion is not good. You could be like, why do I always attract dramatic people in my life? So there could be a lot of transformative energy there. Again, be careful with the controlling things or possessiveness. There could also be a lot of transformation when it comes to marriage or just transforming in general. The 8th house in Pluto and Scorpio. With this placement, your sexual partner is going to love you. Just saying. Because these people tend to have a very high sex drive. It can be very transformative, it can be very intense, very passionate, very deep. They are so into you. So intense. All eyes are going to be on you if you're together with a person who has their Scorpio in the 8th house. So this experience can be very transformative if you have never experienced before. And with this placement, also be careful with addictions. So they can be addicted to you, you can be addicted to someone else, be addicted to sex, be addicted to role play. It's very important to find balance in this. And again, with this ruling, you or your partner's income could go up and down a lot. And the 8th house is ruled by the psychic awareness. So they could have this very strong. So if you cheat on someone with this placement, you are screwed for life. Especially if they have Scorpio in their moon. I have that. It's over and out. It's very hard for people with this placement to get over it or to take people back, to forgive. They might do it, but then it's after a very long time. And they never forget. So the 9th house in Scorpio and Pluto. There could be a lot of transformative energy when it comes to a lot of intensity. Ups and downs with getting your higher education. With marriage or legal things, anything legal could play out in a very intense way. This is also about people in places at a distance to you. You could also be teaching something, like a teacher in the spiritual, or a teacher in something with high education, maybe school, maybe even a relationship therapist, or like you help people who have addictions. So again, your career and relationship status could really change a lot throughout your life. So the 10th and 11th house is all about friends. So intense friends, sexual friends, friends who love the same things as you do, like crime series or crime movies or whatever it is that you like, astrology, tarot cards, crystals. You could have secretive friends around you. Also be careful with manipulative friends who wants to use you for things. It's about groups and organizations too. You could also be a part of a private or a very exclusive club or group. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have seen like Eyes Wide Shut, or maybe even spiritual groups. Oh, or there could be a lot of drama around friends. Or there's transformation in your friends, like friends come and friends go. You have friends that, oh my god, this person slept with that person. Oh my god, did you hear what they did? Did you hear what she said? You're never going to believe what this person did. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. You're going to have a lot of that. Or you could have a lot of that. So the last house is the 12th house. So if you have Pluto or Scorpio in that house, again, you are very, very blessed with the spiritual gift, with the psychic gift. You're very aware of it. It's like, again, it comes naturally. These are the people who receive messages in their dreams from people who passed over, or visions of the future. They see signs everywhere. It's a very Scorpio type of energy. Very clairvoyant. And again, this could also be in the 4th house as we spoke about. Again, you predict the future. And again, this is also the same if you have Cancer in your 12th house, which I have. So you are being transformed on a subconscious level over and over throughout your life. Everything is on a subconscious level for you. You might even get like downloads at night when you sleep. Very vivid dreaming, lucid dreaming, major psychic abilities. And again, I said it before, I believe we all have it, but some people are more in tune with it. It's like people with displacement are born to work with it. And again, people with displacement could be the best police investigators. This is the people who crack the cold cases. And when they meet people, they can tell if they are good or if they are bad. They can tell right from wrong. They can tell what person you are just by meeting you. And again, it's the same with Cancer placement. It's all about feeling. Cancer also take on other people's energy, so very empathic. They really feel people's intention. It's the same if you have Scorpio in your sun or your moon, which I also have. A lot of Scorpio. So again, people with displacement can sense fake people when they see them. So this is all for our Pluto in Scorpio. I really hope you guys learned something new today. Let me know in a comment below if you have Scorpio in your chart, which house. Does it fit to you with the descriptions? Again, this is all about transforming. It's all about closing down the ego, releasing the past. I am probably going to do more of these, but it takes more time, it takes more digging. I have so many videos that I want to do with all this, like also with past life and like what zodiac sign fits better to all signs. Like how is it to date a Cancer person, or how is it to date a Libra or Scorpio or whatever it is. I am going to do more of these videos very soon. But for now, let me know in a comment below how you feel about these placements. Is it you? What are you? Remember to like so that this message can get out to more people. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!